Hello and welcome. Get ready for 45 mind-bending questions that will challenge your knowledge. What do plants need to grow? Sunlight. Darkness. Cold. The correct answer is sunlight. Here's an interesting fact: plants use sunlight to make their own food. What animal lays eggs? Chicken. Cat. Dog. The correct answer is chicken. Here's an interesting fact: chickens are birds and lay eggs. What is the opposite of hot? Cold. Warm. Boiling. The correct answer is cold. Here's an interesting fact: cold is a low temperature. What do we use to see things? Eyes. Ears. Nose. The correct answer is eyes. Here's an interesting fact: eyes help us to see the world around us. Which of these is a fruit? Apple. Carrot. Potato. The correct answer is apple. Here's an interesting fact: fruits have seeds inside them. What season comes after winter? Spring. Summer. Autumn. The correct answer is spring. Here's an interesting fact: spring is the season when plants start to grow again. What type of weather is snow? Cold. Hot. Wet. The correct answer is cold. Here's an interesting fact: snow is frozen water that falls from the sky. What makes a shadow? Blocking light. Wind. Heat. The correct answer is blocking light. Here's an interesting fact: shadows are made when something stops light. What sound does a cat make? Meow. Woof. Roar. The correct answer is meow. Here's an interesting fact: cats are known for their meow sound. What force helps a bird fly? Lift. Gravity. Friction. The correct answer is lift. Here's an interesting fact: lift is created by the shape of the bird's wings. Which part of your body helps you smell? Nose. Mouth. Ears. The correct answer is nose. Here's an interesting fact. The nose has special cells for smelling. What are baby frogs called? Tadpoles, kittens, puppies. The correct answer is tadpoles. Here's an interesting fact. Tadpoles live in water and change into frogs. What type of material is glass? Transparent, opaque, flexible. The correct answer is transparent. Here's an interesting fact. You can see through transparent materials. What happens to water when it boils? It turns to steam. It freezes. It disappears. The correct answer is, it turns to steam. Here's an interesting fact. Boiling is when a liquid turns into a gas. Which animal has stripes? Zebra, lion, elephant. The correct answer is zebra. Here's an interesting fact. Zebras are known for their black and white stripes. What does the sun give us? Light and heat, rain, wind. The correct answer is light and heat. Here's an interesting fact. The sun is our main source of light and heat. What is the name of a baby dog? Puppy, calf, chick. The correct answer is puppy. Here's an interesting fact. Baby dogs are called puppies. What type of bird cannot fly? Penguin, eagle, sparrow. The correct answer is penguin. Here's an interesting fact. Penguins use their wings for swimming. What is the shape of the Earth? Sphere, cube, flat. The correct answer is sphere. Here's an interesting fact. The Earth is a sphere, like a ball. What do we wear to keep our hands warm? Gloves, shorts, t-shirts. The correct answer is gloves. Here's an interesting fact. Gloves cover our hands to keep them warm. Which of these is a vegetable? Carrot, apple, banana. The correct answer is carrot. Here's an interesting fact. Vegetables are parts of plants we can eat. What is the opposite of heavy? Light, big, tall. The correct answer is light. Here's an interesting fact: light objects are easy to lift. What animal lives in the sea? Fish, cow, horse. The correct answer is fish. Here's an interesting fact: fish breathe underwater using gills. What do we call a home made of ice? Igloo, tent, house. The correct answer is igloo. Here's an interesting fact: igloos are built by some people in very cold places. What helps a plant stand tall? Stem, flower, leaves. The correct answer is stem. Here's an interesting fact: the stem supports the plant. What type of weather is a storm? Windy and rainy, sunny, cloudy. The correct answer is windy and rainy. Here's an interesting fact: storms often have thunder and lightning. What do we use to hear sounds? Ears, eyes, mouth. The correct answer is ears. Here's an interesting fact: ears help us to hear different sounds. What animal has a long neck? Giraffe, dog, cat. The correct answer is giraffe. Here's an interesting fact: giraffes are the tallest land animals. What material is used to make paper? Wood, metal, plastic. The correct answer is wood. Here's an interesting fact: paper comes from trees. What happens to ice when it melts? It turns to water. It turns to steam. It disappears. The correct answer is, it turns to water. Here's an interesting fact: melting is when a solid turns into a liquid. Which animal has 8 legs? Spider, dog, bird. The correct answer is spider. Here's an interesting fact: spiders are arachnids with 8 legs. What does a plant's flower make? Seeds, leaves, roots. The correct answer is seeds. Here's an interesting fact: seeds can grow into new plants. What is the opposite of fast? Slow, quick, rapid. The correct answer is slow. Here's an interesting fact: slow is moving without much speed. What animal gives us milk? Cow, hen, sheep. The correct answer is cow. Here's an interesting fact: cows produce milk. What do we call a baby cat? Kitten, puppy, calf. The correct answer is kitten. Here's an interesting fact: baby cats are called kittens. What type of bird says \oink \? None. Duck, pig. The correct answer is none. Here's an interesting fact: pigs say \oink \. What is the shape of a ball? Round, square, triangle. The correct answer is round. Here's an interesting fact: balls are shaped like a sphere. What do we wear on our feet? Shoes, hats, scarves. The correct answer is shoes. Here's an interesting fact: shoes protect our feet. Which of these is a root vegetable? Potato, tomato, cucumber. The correct answer is potato. Here's an interesting fact: potatoes grow underground. What is the opposite of empty? Full, open, closed. The correct answer is full. Here's an interesting fact: a full container has something inside. What animal can swim and walk? Duck, cat, squirrel. The correct answer is duck. Here's an interesting fact: ducks have webbed feet for swimming. What do we call a home made of cloth? Tent, house, igloo. The correct answer is tent. Here's an interesting fact: tents are portable shelters. What part of the plant makes food? Leaves, stem, roots. The correct answer is leaves. Here's an interesting fact: leaves use sunlight to make food. What type of weather is very bright? Sunny, cloudy, rainy. The correct answer is sunny. Here's an interesting fact. The sun shines brightly on a sunny day. What do we use to taste food? Tongue, eyes, hands. The correct answer is tongue. Here's an interesting fact. Our tongue has taste buds. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Stay tuned for more exciting content, and we'll catch you in the next one.